And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I wanted to come and share my thoughts on what's happening with the Canadian Freedom Convoy and how the government is responding to them with the legislation and the Emergencies Act that they implemented recently. And everything that's happening in Canada right now is basically telling you why we need decentralization. you know, I've been on this channel for years now talking to you about the problem with centralization and the fact that we're moving to a more digital world, and the fact that you have the Canadian government and the Prime Minister implementing the Emergencies Act, and they've never ever did this in the history of the country, and how they are now going after individuals' bank accounts, and not just the protesters who are protesting peacefully against the mandates, but even going after the people who donated to these individuals. This is extremely problematic, and this is exactly why we need decentralization and we need cryptocurrencies. So going forward, I am never going to debate with anyone anymore about the need for an alternative cryptocurrency or an alternative currency. The signs are right here in your face. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to be honest with the tyranny that you're seeing. And trust me, this is not just isolated to the Canadian people. They already have been doing this stuff over here in the United States. So it's very important that we start getting everything in our affairs in order to try to combat against what's happening with the fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset. All of these things are happening right on cue. Now, also, people have been running around talking about they were able to freeze Bitcoin addresses or crypto addresses. You cannot stop crypto. What they're doing is they're going after people who are holding cryptocurrency on centralized exchanges. If your crypto is on a centralized exchange, I have been saying this to you for a very long time. Not your keys, not your crypto. If you actually have devices like this, which is a Nano Ledger X, they cannot confiscate your crypto unless you give them access to the device. Now, because the ledger is public, can they blacklist your address or funds coming from an address? Absolutely. But the solution to that is a coin join. Very simple. Or Tornado Cash. So before you run around sharing articles and information talking about they froze addresses, no, they were able to go after centralized exchanges. And I've been saying that to you for a very long time, that these centralized exchanges are the choke points for crypto. And that's an extreme problem. But I want you to think about this for a second. Instead of trying to figure out ways as to why crypto won't work, you need to ask yourself, why don't you want it to work? And what will the world look like if crypto doesn't work? Because now you go to the wrong protests, you're posting things on social media that the government doesn't like or that corporations doesn't like. If you're supporting or you sympathize with protesters and you donate to them, they can now shut your bank account down, go after your retirement accounts, suspend your insurance. That's what they're doing to the truckers, going after the insurers that's insuring them. That's the problem with centralization. There's a central point of control and there is a central point of failure. And you need to ask yourself, are we going more digital or less digital? Because the more digital that we become, the more decentralized that we need to be, not centralized. Because what they're doing here, and I said this during my live stream on Instagram the other day, is they're literally killing an ant with a sledgehammer. See, they're overreacting to the protesters so that they can scare everyone else into submission. Because now what you're going to say to yourself is, I worked 40 years, 30 years for my retirement. I don't want to lose it by protesting. Government insurance, Government benefits, you don't follow what the government wants, we can come after you. Suspend your benefits. Even go after your stock portfolios. So this is extremely dangerous. And then you have to also look at the game within the game and how the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset Initiative is playing a part in all of this that's happening right now. So the pandemic is only accelerating what's already been going on for a very, very long time. And this is why it's important for you to get involved in communities and understand the technology that you can use to protect your identity, to protect your assets, to protect your wealth from these tyrants. Because I promise you, they're not going to roll back this legislation that they've enacted. They're only going to continue to go further with it. So with that being said, guys, please do me a favor and like this video, share this video, subscribe, make sure that you hit the notification bell and set all the notifications to all so that you can receive all of my notifications. Also, YouTube, which is a centralized platform, they suppress how many of my subscribers can actually get notifications. So please do me a favor and in the description below, join my mailing list. Give me your email so that I can email you when I'm going to go live in case YouTube is not sending out my notifications. Also, for those of you who want to follow me on other platforms, I'm mainly active on Instagram. A link to my Instagram is in the description below as well. For those of you who are looking to learn about crypto, the technology, how to buy it, how to sell it, how to store it properly, how to build a portfolio, learning about NFTs, learning about DeFi, how to earn passive income, I put together my Tech Academy where we cover all things crypto. We currently have a free 3-day trial. What I'm going to present to you in this video should make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And this should be showing you why we need decentralization and why you need to be learning about this technology. Because as I said yesterday on my live stream, the price of this information isn't going to go down, it's actually going to go up. So if you're interested in learning about this, definitely click the link below and come sign up for our free 3-day trial. Now, as we get into the information, one of the very first books, if you're a part of the Academy, that I encourage all of the students to read is The Creature from Jekyll Island, because you have to understand the history of money and where we're going to go. And then another book that I always encourage my students to read is 1984 and also A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and 1984 by George Orwell. Because a lot of you always come to me and you say, man, you're so smart. How do you know all this stuff? I know these things because I read. And I understand that history doesn't repeat itself, but it damn sure rhymes. And the future is going to be a blend between A Brave New World and 1984, where you're going to have this technocracy, right? Where literally they're going to have the technology, like they track and monitor everything that you do, everything that you say, right? So when people talk about this idea of the microchip, you already have the chip. You walk around with it every day in your phone. And your phone listens to your conversations. Don't think that Siri just listens to you when you say, hey, Siri. Siri listens to you when your phone is off. Siri listens to you when you're not asking her. Alexa, what do you think all of these smart devices are doing? All of these smart tablets, smart cars, smart refrigerators, smart TVs, smart cable boxes, or your Xbox, all of these things are listening to you. They're tracking and tracing and monitoring everything that you're doing. And the minute that you step out of line, they're going to then use these very same convenience and technology that you use every day against you. Now, let's get right here to this article. And this is in Bloomberg. So for those of you who call me a conspiracy theorist and I'm an alarmist and I'm a doomsday and I'm just trying to scare people, right here states, Trudeau anti-protest law sweeps across Canada finance sector. It says Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's emergency orders aimed at cutting off funds to protesters have cast a wide net across the Canadian financial industry, forcing portfolio managers and securities firms to take a harder look at who they are doing business with. The new rules make demands of a broad list of entities, including banks, investment firms, credit unions, loan companies, securities dealers, fundraising platforms, insurance companies, and fraternal benefit societies. They must determine whether they're in possession or control of property of a person who's attending an illegal protest or providing supplies to demonstrators according to orders published by the government late Tuesday night. It says, if they find such a person in their customer list, they must freeze their accounts and report it to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police or Canada's Intelligence Service. The regulations say any suspicious transactions must also be reported to the country's anti-money laundering agency known as Fintrac. So literally what they're saying here is that if you are attending a protest that is illegal, or you are supporting a protest that is illegal, they want to confiscate and cut off your ability to fund them. And I'm going to actually play politicians laughing and smiling about doing this. So whenever you hear a person say, well, we have Venmo, we have Cash App, we have PayPal, we have the dollar, we have all these other currencies, why do we need Bitcoin? Why do we need Ethereum? This is why we need Ethereum. You need assets that are outside of the government's reach and control. This is why you need alternative currencies. Because all of those platforms, at any moment, the government can step in and it can confiscate your wealth and confiscate your assets. And you know, I see a lot of black people coming out here and saying things like, oh, well, that's just white supremacists. And yeah, we need to do that to white supremacists. And it's laughable to me because if any group of people should understand tyranny and how government can oppress you, it should be black and brown people. So the last people who should support government having these type of powers or these type of tools should be black people or brown people. Because let's put our thinking caps on, because I see many of you are not that bright. And I've come to the conclusion now, a lot of you just are not bright. Just like you can have a left-wing prime minister or president in office and he can use these tools against conservatives and Republicans or white supremacists, you can then get a white supremacist in office who can then use those tools against you, right? So common sense would say to you that I'm not going to support any legislation that could be used to abuse people, to confiscate wealth. Because the very same tools that could be used on them could be used on your dumbass. But see, many of you just are not bright because you are filled with emotion and hate. So you lack the logic to be able to understand that what they can do to them, they damn sure can do to me. Because if they can do that to white people, what do you think they're going to do to you? Who you're already marginalized as it is, right? So you have to start thinking a little bit deeper. Now, let's get to the actual Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, and let's listen to what she had to say. And I want you to look at how she's smiling and how happy she is to be going after people and shutting down their accounts.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing. So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals who donated to the Give, Send, Go and the GoFundMe campaigns. Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Okay, so the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with Fintrac. In terms of the specifics on whose accounts are being frozen, you now have the regulations. The financial service providers have those regulations as well, and they, working with law enforcement, will be making the operational decisions.
So you're confirming.
So before you come and you call me a conspiracy theorist and you say that I'm trying to scare you, right there, this is the Deputy Prime Minister. Look at that face. Look how happy she is to inflict pain on people. Pure wickedness. If you ever had to see a demon in evil, right there, look at that. Look at that demon right there. She's reveling in the fact that she's inflicting pain on people. Look at that beast. Look at that monster right there. Happy. She's happy that these are the type of people that are in your government. These are the type of people that are running corporations. These demons. You think they care about a constitution? You think they look at you as a human? They look at you as an object that's in their way towards their goal. And at a certain point, you can't sit up here and pussyfoot with this anymore and try to make it seem like it's not. You had Julian Assange, you had Eric Snowden. They gave you the information that these people were pure devils and monsters. And you sit up here and you talk to me about, somehow that I'm scaring you and I'm putting out propaganda. No, you should be scared that a monster like this could be in your government. You should be worried that a beast like this could be in control. And think that she's like, yeah, we got their accounts. We have their crypto wallets. And then the people, and just in case you thought, and just look at the demon again here. Just look at her face. Look how dead and lifeless this is. Look, there's no soul there. There's no empathy there. That's a demon, pure demon. But just in case you thought, follow me here. Just in case you think that these emergencies act, right, that the legislation that they're passing and putting out, if you believe that it's just going to stop once they get the truckers out of here, no. It's the same thing that happened with 9/11. Problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, get the reaction you want, and then come with the solution. And the solution is always more government, more tyranny, and less freedom for you. Because these laws that's on the books, you notice they never roll the laws back. They never scale the laws back. They just keep going forward. Now let's listen to her. If you think I'm just fear-mongering and scaring people.
In terms of the financial instruments, which our government is, using right now to act against these illegal blockades and illegal occupation, we reviewed very, very carefully the tools at the disposal of the federal government. And we used all the tools that we had prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act, and we determined that we needed some additional tools. Now, some of those tools, we will be putting forward measures to put those tools permanently in place. The authorities of Fintrac, I believe, do need to be expanded to cover crowdsourcing platforms and payment platform and their payment providers. So that is something that we need to do and we will do, and that needs to be in place permanently. Some of these other tools, like the sharing of information between law enforcement and financial services, and the requirement of financial services to be reviewing their accounts proactively, and the immunity from prosecution that we have provided to them in doing this. These are extraordinary measures that we absolutely believe are necessary in the current circumstances, that are having an impact. And let me also point out, having a peaceful impact. And the other aspect of the financial tools that I would point to as being really effective and important is being clear that insurance on trucks that participate in these illegal occupations and blockades will be suspended. So we didn't have those tools. I don't believe that those tools should be part of the toolbox of a government in ordinary times, but they are necessary in these extraordinary circumstances. And
now, I want to build on this real quick because I see the guy John P in here commenting, right? And this is funny to me. Number one, the whole purpose of having representative government is that they're supposed to get together in a democratic fashion, and they're supposed to argue both sides of the point in regards to how the legislation is going to be actually enforced, whether or not it's overreaching. I want you to understand that this is a group of people basically passing martial law and writing and making up the rules as they go. So, think about this. I really want you to start understanding this. So if I walk down the block and I happen to be at the protest just observing, am I now a part of the illegal protest? Do I now have my funds shut down? Who do I speak to then gain access back to my account in the event that I get deemed a terrorist? Who sets the barometer as to what is and what isn't a terrorist? What agency do I go to? Where's the due process? Or is it just, I'm the government and I say so? What if my kid uses my credit card and donates to this campaign, and now I'm on a list and I lose access to my insurance, I lose access to my trading account, right? I want you to understand how people like John P thinks, right? Because see, in John P's world, you don't have a right to protest if someone's doing something to you that you don't want done to you. So now let's go back to the 40s and the 30s and the 50s when black people would, want to sit in the front of the bus, block buses, protest. In John P's world, we should just be less than a human, and we should just take the situation that's being given to us, although it's unfair, it's inhumane, but John P cares more about his products. Because see, in John P's world, my products got to get to where they got to go. Damned if you're being oppressed. Damned if they're doing something to you that you don't want done to you. Shut the fuck up and let my products go. Right? Right? This is how people like John P think. See, this is the modern day sheep. This is the 85%ers. 85% of the population just wants the world to go the way it is. So therefore, they will give up their freedom for comfort and security. Because see, in their mind, because they were born in a prison, there's nothing wrong with the world because they were born to be slaves. See, people like you and I, those of us who are on the frequency of freedom, you have to understand it goes back to the scene in the Matrix. And I always talk about this time and time again. When they unplugged Neo and him and Morpheus was walking in a simulation, and he's like, the lady in the red walked past him, and then boom, he turned around and it was an agent. He was trying to get him to understand that the agents are all around you because these people are so in love with this system that they will fight to hold on to that very system. Although this very system will eventually oppress them and eat them and drain them like the battery and the slave and the sucker that they was born to be. That's what they like. So you just have to understand this, right? And this is why I say to you, it goes back to, the whole idea of Star Trek and the, the idea of resistance is futile with the Borg. You were wasting your time trying to resist and have this revolution because you got people like John P. everywhere. The best thing you can do is focus on controlling the controllables, gathering enough resources so that you can dominate and control the environments in which you can control. Because there's too many John P's in the world. There are too many sheeps in the world who like the system, who don't see anything wrong with this system. They love it. They love bondage. They love the fluoride water. They love taking a jab. If they could get boosted every quarter, they'll take a booster every quarter. They love that their testosterone levels are dropping. They love that the birth rates are declining. They love it. They love it. Give me more boosters, give me more bullshit, and give me more death. Sign me up. That's what they want. They don't want to be free. So you're wasting your time trying to spread freedom to a group of people who don't want it. Now, this leads me to my next point. So, they were donating, people were donating to a GoFundMe for the truckers, right? To support them. And then basically what ended up happening was GoFundMe shut down the campaign. So then another platform popped up, Give, Send, Go, or Gives and Go, however you want to say it. And then mysteriously, the platform was hacked and the list of people that donated was leaked out. And then what do you think the media did? Because see, you don't have media in this country. You have propaganda, right? So the media start then going after the people who donated. And then now the government is going after the people who donated to support these people. Now, this is the guy who allegedly, supposedly, he was able to hack Gives and Go. Now, see, now we're going to put on our three-dimensional thinking caps here. If you looked at this man and you had to guess what's his political ideology, what do you think he would fit? Do you think he's a liberal, Democrat, or do you think he's a conservative Republican? If you had to guess from just looking at him, what side of the aisle do you think he sits on? I want to look at the chat. I want to see what some of you guys are going to say here. Libtard, right? Right? If you had to guess, what side of the aisle do you think he sits on? Very much so. Now, I want you to see, because we're going to dive a little bit deeper now into the psychology and the psyop that goes on here. He did not hack Gives and Go. Just like the Bitcoin couple didn't hack Bitfinex. But we're going to build on that, right? Because it's important you understand this. I want you to watch this man's body language. And I want you to listen to the things that he's saying. And I want you to understand how deranged these people are.
Nothing scares me. Nothing. Yes, I doxed the truckers. I did it. It was me. I hacked Give, Send, Go, baby. And I do it again. I do it 100 times. I did it. I did it. Come at me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to me, huh? I hacked Epic Hosting! I hacked Parler! I hacked Gab! I hacked Truth Social! I hacked Go! Give, Send, Go! I don't care! You can literally put my name into the news tab on Google.
So now, understand. And this is why you need to read Behold a Pale Horse. And see, this goes back to, again, this is why I created the Academy, to give you guys a safe space for you to really learn and increase your knowledge. Because if you read these books, What Government Has Done to Money, The Bitcoin Standard, The Price of Tomorrow, 1984, The Internet of Money, 48 Laws of Power, The Creature from Jekyll Island, A Brave New World, Skin in the Game. If you read these books, right, you would know very well this is a government operative. This is not a hacker. This is a government operative. And he's designed to fuel the left-right paradigm, to keep you arguing, because if you're a conservative, if you're on the right, you're going to see this guy and you're going to put all your attention on him, thinking that he's the one that hacked Gives and Go, right? So then now it's going to be this left versus right. And so as long as you're arguing between the left and the right, you're never really looking at who the true enemy is. You're never revolting against who the true enemy is because you're stuck in a false paradigm. Controlled opposition, right? You're being controlled on the chessboard. This is why you have to understand, you have to be a three-dimensional thinker and see the game inside of the game. This is how they do it. And then the real people who did and see let me show you how advanced the CIA and the FBI are. They truly are. Let me show you how advanced they are. They'll open up a hole for him to hack Gives and Go. They'll give him the breadcrumbs and make him think. Because in his mind, he probably truly believes that he was able to hack Gives and Go. When in reality, they just opened it up for him to be able to go and do it. So then now they can come back and pass a whole new set of legislation, a whole new set of laws about hacking to go after real hackers who are trying to hack in the sense of freedom, a group like Anonymous. This is how the feds operate. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, they wait for the reaction, get you up in arms, and they come with the solution. Black Lives Matter, Antifa. Not saying that racism doesn't exist. Not saying that classism doesn't exist. Not saying that police brutality doesn't exist. But saying that there are operatives and there are groups of people who use real world problems and they'll go and start the fire to get you to come and finish the fire. They'll break the window to get you to get started and get you riled up. Because they understand that the 85%ers are deaf, dumb, and blind. And the 10%ers are bloodsuckers. And then you got the 5%ers, the poor righteous teachers. Right? Because the 5%, we're so busy, right, trying to all the time get over to the other people. What happens? You got the 85ers, you got the 5ers, and you got the 10. Right? But see, the 10 have mastered and they have perfected this matrix. This is why I say to you that resisting these things are pointless because these people they're inured with being slaves. Look at this. I want you to look. This is the Bitfinex hacker. I want you to look at this lady and I want you to watch her mannerism and behavior and just look at her.
This song is for the entrepreneurs and hackers, all the misfits and smart slackers.
Russell Kong, the Versace better win. Come real far, but don't know where I'm heading. Motherfucking crocodile of Wall Street. Silver on my fingers and boots on my feet. Always be a goat, not a goddamn sheep. Email me, fuck your message at the beep. Beep, 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 beep. Spirit of a revolutionary.
Again, if you had to guess, what side of the political spectrum does you think she sits on? Where do you think she falls? Do you think this is a conservative or do you think this is a liberal? And see, they want you to think and they want you to believe that she and her husband or fiance, whatever he is, were able to hack Bitfinex. So they were sophisticated enough to hack an exchange, but they had $3 billion worth of Bitcoin sitting and cloud storage in an unencrypted device. Think about that. They're sophisticated enough to hack an exchange. They've been moving this Bitcoin around for years, and they got just billions of dollars just sitting on an unencrypted cloud. At a certain point, you have to understand that the memes and the jokes, they write themselves. But again, these are federal agents. These are operatives. It's so clear what they are. And then right on cue, Jesse Powell came out. And for those of you who don't know, Jesse Powell, he is the co-founder and CEO of Kraken FX. He said something very, 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 very important. Someone asked him, it's possible Kraken will be put in a position where told to freeze assets by police without judicial consent. And ye will probably comply. And Jesse Powell responded 100% yes, it has, will happen, and 100% yes, we will be forced to comply. If you're worried about it, don't keep your funds with any centralized regulated custodian. We cannot protect you. Get your coins/cash out and only trade P2P, peer-to-peer. This is the CEO and the co-founder of Kraken telling you, get your crypto off an exchange. What do I know? I'm just a coon. I'm an agent. I'm a self-hating black man. I hate myself. I hate my gums because they black. I hate black pepper. I hate everything black. So you're respected if it comes from a white man because you're not going to listen to me. Well, he told you get your crypto off of an exchange. I've been telling you for years, not your keys, not your crypto. Get your crypto off of the exchanges. Go and get you a Nano Ledger X. Have a multi-sig wallet. I've been saying this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, you're just saying that because you want to sell a device. No, I'm saying this to you because I know what's going to come. As the government goes deeper and deeper into debt, as inflation rages on more and more and more, the government is going to get more draconian. They're going to have to crack the whip on you because the same thing happened in the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, the Byzantine Empire. All empires crash and burn the same way. And it always ends in devaluation of a dollar, a breakdown of the morality of society, the breakdown of institutions, the breakdown of a family, and then eventually you end up raped, robbed, and pillaged. It happens over and over and over again. So person says, what are those? This is what is known as a hardware wallet. Your private keys are now on this device. They're not tethered to a mobile wallet or a desktop wallet, which is a hot wallet. This is cold storage because it's not connected to the internet. When you are on Coinbase.com, you don't have the private keys. So Coinbase can seize your assets. When you're using Robinhood, they can seize your assets. Crypto.com can seize your assets because you're not in control of the asset. Crypto was designed for you to take self-custody of your assets, peer-to-peer, removing middlemen. You and I can transact in a peer-to-peer fashion. Now, when you want to spend Bitcoin, because you have to understand that Bitcoin and Ethereum, these are public open ledgers, meaning that every single thing could be tracked, traced, and monitored. It's pseudonymous, right? It's pseudo-anonymous, right? Meaning that it's pseudo-anonymous, meaning that it's not fully anonymous. It's where I don't know who's behind the address, but if I can find out who's behind the address, then I can link everything that the address is doing within the blockchain to other wallets because I can track you. So once I find out that you are connected to that actual address in that wallet, well, then all of the UTXOs that went out of that wallet to another wallet, I can start tracking it. And this is how they're able to track you across the blockchain. This is why things like Tornado Cash is important within the Ethereum ecosystem. And this is why things like coin joins are important, because what a coin join allows you to do is basically take a whole bunch of UTXOs, right, and input them in, scramble them up, and then output them. But therefore, they're going to join a bunch of transactions together. So you don't know which transaction belongs to which wallet when it comes out of the other end. That's the power of coin joins. Also, utilizing things like the Samurai wallet is important as well. These are things that you need to go and educate yourself on. You know, just for me, even saying the things that I'm saying right now, I could be deemed as giving you advice to teach you how to money launder. That's how crazy we are as a society. Right? Oh, and by the way, I plan on teaching you guys that in an academy as well too. Because I mean, we're in desperate times right now, so the information has to get out there. So I definitely plan on teaching you guys for educational purposes only, not teaching you guys how to get around laws and rules and regulations. I would never do that. I am a true American slave. I would never teach you how to get your crypto off of an exchange. I would definitely all the time make sure that you follow the rules and be a good boot-looking slave that you are. Thank you, Lorenzo the Michi, for the donation. I hope I said that correctly. I probably butchered it. I'm horrible with names. So yeah, but again, this is the CEO of Kraken, which is a centralized exchange, a reputable exchange, telling you, get your crypto off of these exchanges. Get you, and you can, even if you have MetaMask, you can connect your ledger to your MetaMask wallet. So when you sign transactions, you have to connect your ledger to your actual computer to do it. Privacy and security means everything. And then right on cue, U.S. truckers slam Facebook for removing a page organizing DC Freedom Convoy, censorship at its finest. Now I know many of you black people, you're going to say, oh, nope, it came from Fox News. I'm not reading it. You should be consuming content from everywhere. You should be apolitical. You should not be a person that's caught up in the whole left-right paradigm. You should be seeking knowledge and information and wisdom, no matter where it comes from. Again, Facebook, now known as Meta, is a centralized platform. So now when you're on that platform and you're trying to pull together people, pull together resources, they can come in at any moment and shut you down and silence you and close down your group and shut down your page. And that's exactly what they did. Who has been telling you that these things are going to happen for the longest? I've been sitting here on this platform telling you about these things for the longest. That you're not truly free. You can't really share information. You can share what they allow you to share. You can say what they allow you to say. And if you say things or you do things that they don't like, they will shadow ban you. Now, going back to the guy, what was the guy named? Forgot his name. I forgot his name. The guy, what was his name? Paul something. He's gone now. I didn't block him. But going back to him, you know, in his world, there's nothing wrong with shadow banning people. Well, if I'm shadow banned, number one, how do I know I'm shadow banned? And number two, who do I speak to get my account from not being shadow banned anymore? This is what happens when you give power to tyrants. This is what happens when you give power to groups of people who are colluding together to destroy the West. This is what happens. Because now you won't get any reach on these platforms. This is what happens. Now look what the person says. You could build your own network and infrastructure. Then it's just becomes cyber warfare. How can you build it when 85% of the people don't want to build it? 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. They love this bondage. They love the prison that they were born into. Go watch the new Matrix movie. It's very, very important that you watch the Matrix movie. See, and I always bring up this particular scene. First, you had Cypher when he's sitting down with Agent Smith in the Matrix, and he's eating the steak. And he goes and he says, I know this steak is fake. He knows the steak is fake, but he eats it and he goes, I know it's just an electrical impulse going to my brain. But I love it. Ignorance is bliss. He's unplugged from the Matrix, free, but he doesn't like freedom. He would prefer to be a battery in the Matrix. As long as he's someone that's powerful, as long as he's someone that is of status, he doesn't mind going back into the Matrix. And this is what happens when you deal with demons. They don't, as long as they're a bigger devil than the people below them, they don't care. So trying to build your own is going to be useless, in my opinion. In reality, what you should be focusing on doing is networking with like minds, gathering resources, and trying to carve out a space within the matrix, right? Where you can come in and out of the matrix as you see fit. Where you could be of the matrix, but not in the matrix. The person says, I don't like you. What about stocks? Anything on a centralized exchange can be confiscated. This is why the cypherpunks created crypto in the first place. This is why Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to solve the double spending problem, because the cypherpunks understood back in the 70s that there was a problem with the internet, that it was fundamentally broken, and that it was giving too much power to corporations and government. So therefore, they were trying to utilize cryptography in a way to give you more privacy and control over your data and information as you browse the internet. If you have stocks on the stock exchange, they can be confiscated. Your insurance can be cut off at any time. Go and watch the movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith, where literally they shut his credit card companies, everything, they shut everything down. That movie came out back in 1995, 1998. Here we are in 2022. And to see, it's amazing how like you watch these movies and you think that, oh no, that's just a movie that would never happen in real life. And then we're sitting here and we're watching it happen in real life. But then you come and you tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm just here to scare people. Don't listen to him. He's a bussy warrior. These things are happening right now in front of your very eyes. But the Biden administration, what do you think the whole idea of going after transactions of $600 or more, who do you think that's designed to do, to track? What do you think it's designed to do? You think that they're just passing it just to pass it? It's here. It's just a matter of whether or not you are sophisticated enough to see these things, and how are you looking to insulate and protect yourself from the very things that are coming. Now, see, these things, they all tie together, because now we have to get to the Great Reset Initiative. And again, I was talking about Big Claus and the Great Reset 2 years ago. Well, everyone wants to talk about the Great Reset now. We're living through the Great Reset right now. We're living through it. The pandemic is only going to accelerate it. I want you to listen to the question that this person was asking this individual right here from the True North. I want to make sure I got it here. What she asks him about the World Economic Forum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honorable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate. We have to call out disinformation.
We'll get into debate again.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name Which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honorable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open.
Right? Literally, they have infiltrated your government, and you know it's funny when we sit here and we watch these things unfold, and like literally in the middle of hearings and briefings, they just come out and throw out the World Economic Forum and they talk about Klaus Schwab, right? And for those of you who do not know what the Great Reset Initiative is, let's just pull that up.
100% of GDP. Now, the final outcome of this pandemic.
Let's pull up who Klaus Schwab is, because I think that it's important that you kind of know what this whole idea of a Great Reset is, right? Like this is, and these people are bold. They come out and they say it right in your face because they know, like you don't want free, you don't want to be free. Well, let's find a video. I know I had the video here somewhere. I always misplace this video. Here we go.
We have contributions from His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, from IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, and from many more in the next hour and a quarter. But to get us underway, let's hear from the forum's executive chairman and founder, Professor Klaus Schwab.
Thank you, Adrian. It is obvious that we are in the midst of the most severe crisis the world has experienced since World War II. 75 years ago, countries and people came together to shape the post-war global order, which brought us decades of peace, increased global cooperation, and prosperity to hundreds of millions of people around the world. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare the fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system for the need for the post-corona era. We have a choice to remain passive, which would lead to the amplification of many of the trends we see today: polarization, nationalism, racism, and ultimately increased social unrest and conflicts. But we have another choice. We can build a new social contract, particularly integrating the next generation. We can change our behavior to be in harmony with nature again. And we can make sure that the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution are best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset. We have to mobilize all constituents of our global society to work together. We must not miss this unique window of opportunity. We have to mobilize all best utilized to provide us with better lives. In short, we need a great reset. We have to mobilize all constituents of our global society to.
So, again, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's the World Economic Forum. They have it every year. They even have a YouTube page. Like they know that they've already won. So they have a YouTube page and it says the Great Reset right here. Right? The Great Reset is the name of the 50th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum held in June 2020. Like they know they won already. right? So they just sit up here. Look, they got 696,000 subscribers. They got a YouTube page that verified and everything. Like, listen, they know that most of you want to be slaves. You want to be batteries for the Matrix. They know that, right? So I'm not speaking to you. If you are 85%er, I'm not speaking to you, right? I'm speaking to the 5%ers. I'm speaking to those of you who are looking for freedom, who are looking to control the controllables. I don't make content for the 85%ers. If you don't see nothing wrong with the world, go for it. Listen, man, go drink your fluoride, get boosted every quarter. You know what I'm trying to say? Do what you're supposed to do. I'm not here. See, one thing about me, I am not here to tell people how they should and should not live their lives. You can live it however you see fit. If you want to be a slave, be a slave. Who am I to stop you, right? I want out. I'm Agent Smith. I'm the Merovingian. I want out, and I want to be able to come in, and I want to be able to control the things that I can control. I want to control the controllables in my life. This is why crypto is so important. This is why being able to take custody of your assets is important. And understand that we're just at the tip of the iceberg. More and more people are going to wake up to the problems of the Web 2.0. And this is why the Web 3.0 is so important. So when you see, this is real disinformation right here. This is real misinformation, right? The court orders freeze the Canadian Convoy crypto fundraising. Like, this is purposely to be misleading. Like, in crypto, we don't have good media. We don't have good journalism. We just don't. Because you cannot freeze a Bitcoin address, right? Because I wouldn't even consider, if your crypto's on an exchange, I wouldn't even consider it like crypto. Because you don't control the private keys, right? So these exchanges are everything that crypto was designed not to be. So I don't even consider that, like, that's like saying, well, they confiscated someone's stock account. Mm-hmm. You know, so this is why this technology is important. And I promise you, as we go deeper and deeper into this great reset in this initiative, you're going to start to see more and more why this technology is needed for those of you who are part of the 5%ers. And when you see CEOs like Jesse Powell of Kraken coming out and speaking out about what's going on, these people are working behind the scenes to try to solve some of these problems as well too. And that's one of the things that has always made me excited to be involved in crypto. The true real, you know, the spirit of anarchy, the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of trying to fight the powers in a way where, you know, you don't have to really put yourself on the front line, but you can definitely fight back, because if they have their way, the technocracy will be nowhere that you can beat them. And then when you start thinking about artificial intelligence and androids and AI, once they fully perfect that, I mean, they've probably already perfected it, but once it becomes mainstream, that's another threat that we have to worry about. So, you know, we're in some real interesting times right now. And I plan on covering what's happening in Canada more and more, because you know, I've been entrenched in this information and in this, you know, whole what this segment of society for a while. You know, many of you know my background. I come from the whole Jordan Maxwell, Alex Jones crowd. And then I realized that they were shills and that they were controlled opposition. But I still knew that these are real problems that we're facing. And technology only allows these tyrants to be more tyrannical. And you have to, if you are a freedom-loving person, I don't care if you're white, black, brown, purple, I don't care what your sexual orientation is, I don't care what class you come from, I don't care where you come from in the world. If you love freedom, then you should love crypto, because crypto is the only true way that you're going to be able to get the freedom that you are seeking, and fight back and get somewhat of the power back into the hands of the people. So I'll take a few questions before I hop off of here. Crypto is not another asset class. Crypto is way more than another asset class. some people are treating it like an asset class. Crypto is freedom. Crypto is giving you more access and control over your funds. Crypto is not just an asset class. I like Avalanche. I think Avalanche is solid technology. I told everyone, outside of Polkadot, I like Phantom and I like Avalanche. I love those two projects. I put together a new DeFi course, really diving into bridging your assets over to other networks, being able to utilize different yield farming and staking strategies, how to leverage your crypto and borrow against it. I'm really, really proud of what I was able to put together at My Tech Academy. A link is in the bio. And I don't feel like, before I used to feel like, oh man, you're shilling your course. Nah, I'm proud of what I put together, and the price is definitely going up. Opening up the lifetime membership again. I'm going to put together a payment plan option for you guys to get involved, because as you can see with My Tech Academy, it's more than just learning about crypto. It's really just learning about the world and the technology and what's going on. And when we have our 2-hour builds where we talk about The Creature from Jekyll Island and we have our book reviews, it makes me feel good to know that I'm making an impact. Because we don't have too much more time left to even have conversations like this. Soon, YouTube's going to be monitoring, filtering conversations like this, and they're going to deem it as being an extremist, and we won't even be able to live stream like this, right? So, dark days and dark days are ahead. So, it's important to get a part of groups and like minds to really share information and resources to prepare yourself for what's to come, so that you can survive and thrive, not just survive. Because I promise you, you've seen nothing yet. What these people have in store for you is pure demonic and pure wickedness. A 100, yes, thank you for the donation, Thundora. Absolutely, I know about the 5% nation. I was named after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was born in the Nation of Islam. Like, my mother was carrying me in her womb, and we were going down to 125th Street. That's when the Nation of Islam was something that you could actually cherish and be proud to be a part of, before they got co-opted by Scientology. That's when they was really kicking real knowledge. Now they got clowns like Rizza Islam running it. So, or not running it, but, being the face of the young generation. So you got to be careful with that. A fair notice, I would say I like Secret Network. I don't own any Secret Network, but I like it. And I like Secret, I own Mina, and I like Phantom. I really think that Phantom's going to do well. DeFi on Phantom is just, it's so quick, it's so fast, so cheap. Like, one of the problems with Ethereum, and see, this is why a lot of EVM compatible blockchains, they're being smart with what they're doing, where like they're watching Ethereum's problems, and rather than having all of these band-aids like Immutable X and Polygon Matic and like all these Optimism and Arbitrum, like you get to the point where you're like fragmenting your liquidity within Ethereum. Like, all of these band-aids is hurting the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Whereas with like Phantom and Avalanche, it's like everything is cohesive, right? There's not like 50 different places to go. So this is why I don't like, one of the things I'm noticing with Ethereum is that like everyone's just trying to get a cash grab. So there's like so many people trying to create these different bridges and different band-aid solutions. Whereas with Phantom, the ecosystem's nice and small and tight. So it's really easy to do DeFi, and it's not like the liquidity is all over the place. I think that that's really good. So I'm a real bull on Phantom, and it's not listed on Coinbase yet, right? So we know that once it gets listed on Coinbase, it's gonna rip. So but Mina's solid technology, just the way that they can compress the blockchain, is very, very important. What do you think about the Solidity project by Andre Cronje? Also, I'm thinking about going risk off considering the currently macro environments. I haven't really looked into that project, but Andre is behind the Phantom. I wouldn't say behind the Phantom, but he's working closely with Phantom. And this is why the yield farming opportunities on Phantom are insane. Like, I've been printing money. I turned $3,000 and almost $60,000 yield farming on the Phantom blockchain between Phantom and Moonbeam. I've been literally just printing money. It's insane how easy it is to print money on those blockchains. Because Andre is the mind behind Yearn Finance and a lot of these other DeFi protocols and aggregators. But I haven't looked into the Solidity project that he's working on. But he's a brilliant mind. I tell you guys all the time. He's like a mad scientist when it comes to DeFi. In regards to the macro environment, we are in a weird place right now because, okay, the Fed has to raise interest rates to maintain some type of credibility. I was expecting them to raise rates more like a quarter of a point, half of 50 basis points, 25 basis points, and then leave it at that. But inflation is really, really running really hot. The problem with the Fed is that if they raise rates significantly and they raise it too fast, it's going to make the government servicing its debt is going to be more expensive, right? Because the Fed determines the price of money. So therefore, if the Fed raises rates, it's going to be more expensive for the government to pay back its debt. It's then also going to negatively impact the tax receipts that they get, because if the government is costs them more money, if interest rates are higher, less borrowing, less economic activity, stock market goes down, then that's less tax revenue that the government gets. So I don't truly believe that the Fed can raise interest rates for a prolonged period of time because our national debt is so large, and it would just basically be a negative feedback loop for the economy and for the government. That being said, they can raise rates significantly for let's say 2 quarters, right, going into 2023. So me personally, I haven't sold any crypto in this downturn. The only things I've been selling is garbage like Solana. I sold some Terra. I got in and out of Harmony, I traded around that, and I'm just using that to basically buy in the lower prices of cryptocurrency projects that I like. I think that the bull market still has legs to run, but the Fed could wake up and cause a depression, right? We know that during the 30s, the Fed was the reason why the depression happened. So we have to be mindful of that because, right, if the elites get desperate enough, they can push that button and crash everything. I don't think that the crash is going to happen. I don't believe that the crash I believe the real crash is going to happen going into 2023, going into the fourth quarter, and then the fourth quarter of 2022 and going into 2023 is what I believe personally. So I believe that right now we're going to probably trade a little bit lower, test 40K Bitcoin, $1,700 Ethereum, 30K Bitcoin and $1,700 Ethereum. Test the recent lows, and then we'll press back higher going into the second and third quarter is what I truly believe. So. Yeah, I love what you just said. Great filibuster. I've been telling you guys about Cardano for the longest. That it's just not. Cardano is not something that. Whenever you're copying and you're not innovating and you're overselling and under-delivering, people eventually become underwhelmed, and that's what you get with Cardano. Charles is a really, really good salesman. He's a really, really good communicator in regards to building a cult-like following, but there's nothing exciting happening on Cardano. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make money with it, but all of the excitement is really happening on layer 2s and on a lot of these smaller projects and in the whole ZK roll-up space. Zero knowledge proofs. Solana is garbage because of the infrastructure and the way that it's put together. It's heavily centralized. There's nothing proprietary or unique about it. It's just a bunch of SQL databases. Effectively, it's basically built on old existing Web 2.0 technology. So, how can you say that you're innovating and changing the world when you're basically utilizing Web 2.0 technology everywhere you go? And then you say you can do all these transactions per second, and then the minute that you start trying to do it, you have to shut down your blockchain. Literally, they stopped producing blocks. It doesn't happen to them 2 times already now in the past 60 days, 90 days. So I think Algorand's going to pump because there's a lot of venture capital money behind Algorand, right? So I believe that Algorand's going to do really, really well because the VCs are going to pump it and then dump it like they did with ICP. Algorand has solid technology, but They just need the marketing, right? And this is where the VCs are going to come into play. So if you get a pump on Algorand, definitely take some profit. I'm a big bull in Moonbeam. I think that Moonbeam is going to be huge. A lot of the farming opportunities within the Moonbeam ecosystem right now are phenomenal. Again, plug in the DeFi course. You can make some insane yields and gains and over there. I've been just running up a crazy bag over there. Harmony is a solid piece of technology as well too. Harmony, I would say right now, if you had to look at some low cap layer ones, Harmony, Mina, I would say Harmony, Mina, and Phantom, and you could add Secret Network as well. Those 4 are good projects to look at. I don't know much about New Cipher. I haven't really looked at it. Do you think companies will start carrying the bigger ledgers like Best Buy? I don't know. And honestly, I wouldn't trust buying anything from a company like Best Buy. I would prefer to buy them directly from Ledger itself. I'm not really a fan of Hex like that. I think that it's interesting. I think that Richard Hart is brilliant. But some of the things I've seen with Hex is like I think it was well put together. I think it was designed to pump. The question is it designed to last over the long term? Meaning when people start claiming their Hex and basically taking the Hex out that they've staked, will the price be able to sustain, the whales once they start to get out of it? Because we know once whales start dumping, prices crash anyway. So, but Richard is definitely one of the better minds in crypto. I mean, he's by far brilliant, so. What do I think about Ethereum? I think Ethereum's going around like $8,000. I would say between $6,500 to $8,000 for this year. $6,500 to $8,000. Mina spelled M-I-N-A. Ethereum Classic. The only reason why Ethereum Classic is pumping is because Ethereum is moving to proof of stake. So people are just taking their hash rate. Basically, because right now Ethereum's proof of work, so people are mining using their GPUs. Eventually, what they're going to do is that once Ethereum switches over to proof of stake, people are going to then take that hash rate from the Ethereum main chain and move it over to Ethereum Classic and mine the chain. In terms of like use cases, utility, applications being built, there's nothing happening on Ethereum Classic that's worthwhile. So if you're buying it, you're literally just trying to time the hash rate pumps. It is a ghost chain. Cardano is a ghost chain. It is. They basically just have a bunch of cloned applications, apps like Ethereum. No, like there's nothing exciting happening on Cardano. I'm in all of the yield farming groups and all that. I don't hear anyone talking about farming on Cardano, NFTs on Cardano. What's happening on Cardano that anyone's excited about? Nothing. So, but it's okay, John P. I mean, I'll keep you here. You should make it interesting. Yeah, I'm all in Link. Link is my biggest position. I'm a huge bull on Chainlink. Chainlink will power the fourth industrial revolution. There will be no DeFi without Link. The verified randomness function that they have with NFTs, making sure that they're unique. Chainlink is like literally they're head and shoulders above any other oracle. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So I'm a huge bull in Link. Big bull in Link. But we're coming up on an hour and 15 minutes. I don't like to make these live streams too long. So just wanted to hop in here and answer you guys' questions. Just to kind of wrap this up. At this point, I'm no longer entertaining questions about the need and the use cases of cryptocurrencies. We're literally watching it unfold before our very eyes with our government and how literally they're just starting to crack down and become tyrannical across the board. And I salute what's happening with the Canadian truckers who are basically standing up against these mandates. I think it's a beautiful thing to see. I think in the end they will lose because the sad thing is people enjoy tyranny. What you should be getting from this is that this technology and the need for alternative platforms and currencies and payment processors, et cetera, is definitely needed. And as more and more people start to witness this, it's only going to make more people start to seek alternatives even more to, crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe, seeking alternatives to platforms like YouTube, seeking alternatives to platforms like, Venmo and Cash App, to name a few. So I'm definitely excited to see where we're going. I've been talking to you guys about this stuff for years now. And, while it's going to be difficult to watch many people suffer, it's going to be the best of times for some of us and the worst of times for others. It all just depends on where you currently are. So please do me a favor and like this video, share this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, set it to all, or join my mailing list in the description below. Definitely follow me on Instagram. That's another platform where I create content and share content. Also, if you're looking to learn about all things crypto, NFTs, DeFi, how to buy, how to sell, how to store, putting together a portfolio, being a part of a community of like-minded people, I created My Tech Academy. We have a free 3-day trial. A link to My Tech Academy is in the description below. With that being said, guys, have a blessed and beautiful day. And please make sure that you stay safe.